Pitfall was released in 1982, and then 2 years later we got Pitfall II in 1984. These games were really interesting, especially at the time. There weren't a whole lot of side-scrollers, and there definitely weren't a lot of side-scrollers that looked like this. Both of these games were made by Activision, and this came right after the split of Activision and Atari. A bunch of programmers at Atari were not happy with the way that they were being treated and decided to leave Activision and form their own company. So Pitfall is a pretty simple game, but for the time on the Atari 2600, it was really impressive. I mean, there's quite a lot going on here. You've got a 20-minute time limit. You basically start with a score of 2,000, and every time you get hit by one of these logs, just one of these logs, you lose some points. The game can end when you run out of points, when you fall in one of these lakes, as I just did, or when a gator gets you, or one of the scorpions get you. There are also some other stuff that goes into this, so you'll eventually end up with pits that you can fall in and also die as well. The jumping mechanics I really don't like with this game at all. They probably work pretty well for what really is going on, but I just could not get past them. There's just something about the Atari 2600 controller that I just absolutely loathe the jumping mechanics on this. Now, the way you actually jump up onto these vines is pretty simple. You just wait for it to come towards you, press over and jump, Harry will automatically grab on. But the way you get off, you have to press down, and that can sometimes lead you into problems. It's just a weird thing with the controller, and I don't really like it that much. I'm assuming if I practiced more, I could have gotten this jumping stuff down. But as it stands, I was just totally lost when it really happened. I just can't really describe it any better. Now, like I said earlier, you have a 20-minute time limit, which is a pretty cool mechanic. It does sort of add some urgency to it. I personally really hate side-scrollers with time limits. I kind of want to have a chance to do a little bit more exploring. But with this, you don't really need it, but it is kind of helpful, just because it moves the pace of the game along. And from what I've read and seen some of the other playthroughs, you need every bit of that 20 minutes to try to find all the 32 treasures. This is a fairly big game with about 256 screens, and it can be a little bit unforgiving with a few of the jumps, and honestly with some of the other things the game asks you to do. The kind of disappearing and reappearing pits and also lakes, they can be a bit of a challenge, but once you know that they're there, it's kind of easy to get around. A lot of this game has to deal with memorization, and that's sort of where I get a little bit upset with it. So the big difference between Pitfall and Pitfall 2 is Pitfall 2 has more of a plot to it. And unfortunately, my cartridge wasn't working, so I really couldn't capture any footage. But it looks very similar to Pitfall. So in Pitfall 2, you are still playing as Pitfall Harry, and you're trying to get a bunch of US gold, which they're very specific about that one. It can't be any other type of gold. The Raj Diamond, this weird stone rat statue, and you're trying to find your cousin, or sorry, not your cousin, your niece Rhonda and her cat Quickclaw. Why Rhonda's parents just decided to let Harry take their daughter off into, I believe this is South America, and just have her go off into the jungle, I have no idea. I can only assume that Rhonda's family hates her, and they were kind of hoping that she died. That's really the only thing I can lead into it. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Pitfall 1 and 2 are There are landmark games just because of what they did, especially in terms of side scrollers, but there's not a whole lot of reason to really go back and revisit them, at least in my opinion. There are better games out there that do similar things and do them better than what Pitfall did. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up, you guys. I hope you all enjoyed the episode, and if you did, please let me know in the comments below. Have a great day, everyone.